A-Level Biology 9700, Paper 4, Variant 3, May June 2024, question number 1 and question number 2. First of all, we will discuss the question number 1, figure 1.1, outlines the effect of antidiuretic hormone ADH on the cells of the collecting duct. The cell signaling mechanism of ADH is similar to that of the glucagon on liver cells. So here I would like to uh, discuss what is ADH, antidiuretic hormone, which is released by the posterior pituitary gland in response to dehydration or low blood pressure. So it binds, you can see it is released into the blood, then it binds with the receptor protein. So after binding with the receptor protein, um, it triggers a signaling cascade. Signaling cascade, you can ATP is required for this process, and then enzyme signaling cascade has been started, and this signaling cascade will result in the insertion of these aquaporins with the cell surface membrane, and in this way, most of the water is in the collecting ducts is reabsorbed. So from the filtrate, the most of the water is reabsorbed, and as a result of this, the concentrated urine is produced. Now, it was the whole process which has been shown in this figure 1.1. Now, I would like towards the question number 1, and question number 1 is name structures A, B, and C. So I am moving to the figure again. They have asked about the different labelings. So I have to write the what is A, what is B, and what is C. So first of all, the A, which is uh, G protein. So what is G protein? So G protein is act as a molecular switch, which transmits the signals from outside the cell to its interior. So it is essential for wide range of cellular processes and are involved in many physiological functions. So it is G protein which is involved in this process. It has and ATP is changed into second messenger, which is B, and it is called as cyclic AMP. So cyclic AMP is a, you can say, second messenger molecule which is involved in this process. So it acts as a messenger within the cell, conveying signalings from outside the cell to its interior. Now you can see the next is C part is the aquaporins or water channels. Or water channel. Now, moving towards the next question. And next question is ADH is secreted by the posterior pituitary gland when the water potential of the blood decreases. Suggest why the water potential of the blood may decrease. So there are so many different reasons due to which the potential water potential of the blood is decreased. So one of them is the dehydration. And why dehydration is produced? Because sometimes we are not taking more water. As for example, in winter days, we don't need too much water to drink. But sometimes we are busy in some work and we don't take in water, due to which the dehydration is takes place in the body. So one of them is dehydration, and other reason why dehydration takes place in the body is that due to sweating. in their hot environment, then we you can say the sweating, too much sweating can lead to the dehydration. So one of them is sweating, and secondly, dehydration is produced as a result of, and sometimes what happens that there is a disease in the body, sometimes due to a disease, that is sometimes the people feel they are sitting normally but they feel um, you can say that sweating on their body due to some disease. So in this way you can say uh, the dehydration takes place in the body, and sometimes due to more urination, as a result of cold environment, the water potential also decrease. So more frequent urination due to cold environment. So in this way, there are many reasons um, of decreasing water potential in the blood. Now is next question is, diabetes insipidus is a condition affecting osmoregulation by the kidney. One form of diabetes insipidus is caused by a tumor in the pituitary gland, which results in a decreased secretion of ADH. So, suggest the symptoms that would occur in a person with the diabetes insipidus. So, the symptoms which are produced as a result of this disease, diabetes insipidus. So there are so many different, you can say, the conditions which are produced as a result of this. So what happens? What happens? That is the decreased secretion of ADH. Already told you that ADH is a hormone which is produced as a result of dehydration or low water potential in the blood. So when it is not decreased as a due to this disease which is called as diabetes insipidus, so what will happen? The more of the water will not be reabsorbed by the collecting ducts, because the most function of this ADH is to balance the water tension in the blood by absorbing most of the water. So when it does not happen, when ADH is not releasing in accurate quantity, it is secreting very low quantity or not secreting due to this disease. So what will happen? The most of the water will not be reabsorbed. So when there is no reabsorption of water, then frequent urination will occur. That is, the more water will be in the form of urine will will be excreted out of the body. So, due to this disorder, the excessive thrust can happen. That is also called as polydipsia. Sometimes people with this condition often feel consistently thirsty, because most of the urine has been producing by the body and water is lost. And then frequent urination is also called as polyuria. So they may urinate frequently, and due to which they open large amount of dilute urine. So nocturia is also another condition which is produced as a result of not producing the ADH in accurate quantity. So in nocturia, what happens? That the frequent nighttime urination takes place, and as a result, dehydration takes place in the body. So what happens? So the different symptoms, first of all, this excessive thirst, excessive thrust is produced, and then secondly, the frequent urination, because reabsorption is not taking place. And then the third, we can write the third condition, that is the frequent of dilute urine, which is not a good sign. So in this way, these are the different symptoms which are produced. Now the next question is another condition which is called as neurogenic diabetes insipidus. Is another form of diabetes insipidus in NDI. ADH molecule cannot bind to the receptor proteins located in the cell surface membrane of the cells of the collecting duct. With reference to figure 1.1, explain the effect on the cell surface membrane labeled P if ADH cannot bind the receptor proteins. Okay. And students already explained this, that the ADH, when it is released, so it is released, at that time when there is dehydration or low water potential in the blood. So it binds to a specific receptor protein, and as a result of its binding, there is a triggering a signal cascade is started, which leads to the insertion of aquaporins into the cell surface membrane, due to which the increased number of aquaporins allows for a greater amount of water to be reabsorbed from the filtrate in the collecting duct back into the bloodstream. So if it does not bind, if cannot bind to its receptor, the signaling cascade that leads to the insertion of aquaporin will not be initiated. So as a result of the number of aquaporins in the cell surface will remain low. This reduced number of aquaporin will limit the amount of water that can be reabsorbed from the filtrate, so leading to increased urine production and potential dehydration. So in this way, it happens if ADH cannot bind the receptor protein. So we will write that if ADH not cannot binds to the receptor protein, the signaling cascade, the signaling cascade that leads to the insertion of aquaporins will not initiated. So few aquaporins no water reabsorption will take place. More urination will occur. Okay, now we are moving towards the last question of last part of the question number one. NDI is caused by recessive allele of the gene coding for the receptor protein. This gene is located on the X chromosome. Explained why a man with NDI cannot have inherited the condition from the father. And here you can see the students, the male has X and Y chromosome, whereas female has X and X chromosomes. So you know that if it is present on the X chromosome, the female can have this disease in this way. You can see it is on X chromosome. The female can have, and these genotypes you can see in this way. And whereas the male has X and Y chromosomes, so what will happen? X will be in this condition, capital N, and Y, and you know the Y is or small n Y. So he will have this allele or will not have this disease. So he will have this neurogenic individuals or he will not, because he will inherit this from the mother only, because mother has two X chromosomes. In case that it is on present on X chromosome, it is present on X chromosome. So he gains these X chromosomes, he receives these X chromosomes from the mother. X chromosomes is received from mother, and father has only one X chromosome. So if that one X is normal, it has normal gene, there is no disease gene. So it means that he will be a normal man, because, and if the mother is having this gene, that is in this condition, if the mother having in this condition, it means then he will receive from the mother. So due to mother, he can have this disease, except father. Due to father has only one X chromosome. If that one X chromosome is faulty, it will not be this way. And you can say, so in this way, the man could not have inherited that condition from the father. Now we are moving towards the question number two. And question number two is, phenotypic variation exists in many forms. Some examples of phenotypic variations in plants and animals are described in table 2.1. Complete table 2.1 by starting whether the causes of variations for each described example is likely to be due to genetic factor, VG, environmental factor, VE, a combination of genetic and environmental factors, VG and VE. So we are going to read all these and we will mention. So we are moving with the first description of phenotypic variation. What is phenotypic variation? type is actually the physical appearance. So, how physically they look like. So, you can see tomato plants grown in a glass house, and grown outside. They were grown at two places, that is in the glass house and on the grown outside, varying the yield of tomatoes they produce. So there will be the variations in glass house and outside. So they have variations. 17 genes associated with tomato yields have been identified. So it means these some plants were grown in the glasshouse and some were grown outside. So the grown outside having 17 genes associated with tomato. So it means there were many variations which were produced as a result of environment. So there were genetic variations due to genes, but there were many because they were grown outside. So environmental factors also involved in this case. So we will write both of they have VG and VE as well. So genetically they are also affected, and then as well as by the environment. New strawberry plants from the variety called sweet N are made by asexual reproduction. The new plants grow to different sizes and produce different number of fruits. So here you can say the new strawberry plants, varieties called sweet and asexual reproduction. They are produced by asexual reproduction. And in the asexual reproduction, fusion of gametes does not take place. And when there is no gamete formation as a result of fusion of gametes, so what will happen? There will be no variations produced as a result of genetic mm, gene variations. So will not be there. So only the environmental factors are involved into it. So we will write B. The domestic cat has a blood group system with three possible blood types A, B, and AB. The blood types are determined by antigens present on the cell surface membrane of red blood cells. The blood groups, they are A, B, A, B, AB. No environmental factors are involved into it. So these are the you can say discontinuous variations, or they are you can say also called as the. So in this way, I would like to say only the genetic variations are involved into it, which are discontinuous variations. Over 50 genes have variants that are associated with excessive weight gain in humans. Excessive weight gain in humans. Other risk factors for excessive weight gain include diet and exercise. Diet and exercise means other factors are also involved. So, genetic factor and other environmental factors are also involved. So, we will write VG plus VE. And the last one is resting. Heart rate in humans varies between different individuals. Some factors that influence resting include biological sex, family history, family history, which is variations produced by the genes, number of cigarettes smoked, medication taken. Again, both variations are involved, genetic variations as well as the environmental issues. So all they are environmental factors are also involved as a which cause the variations. So we are moving towards the next question, and next question is name a spontaneous random event occurring in cells that can be source of phenotypic variation, and the only way a sudden change you can say which can occur, which is spontaneous, which is random, that is called as mutation. And mutation is a sudden change in the chromosome number or chromosome sequence of the DNA. So it is the mutation. And last question is, other than the event named in, describe the features of sexual reproduction that complete to the production of genetically different offsprings. So the variations, the source of variations, due to which the sexually reproducing organisms are able to reproduce in many different types of offsprings. So, the variation, first of all, we can say the variations are starting in the prophase burst of meiosis. What happened in which the homologous chromosome, they come close to each other and they exchange their parts. So, first of all, I would like to write crossing over, in which the homologous chromosomes come close to each other and exchange part during meiosis, during phase of meiosis. Okay. And the second can be the random fusion of gametes. Random fusion of gametes. And students, many potential eggs are present in the ovary at the time of the birth of the baby girl. And same is the case when there is, you can say, as a result of sexual intercourse, many sperms are produced at that time, and randomly, out of thousands of those sperms, only one sperm is able to enter into the egg to fertilize it. So in this way, the random fusion of gametes takes place. That is no pre-planned that which chromosome will fuse with the egg. It is not pre-planned. So at that time, the you can say the sperm, which is sperm plus egg. So nobody knows which sperm will fuse with the egg. So at that time, when sperm and egg fuse together, nobody knows which sperm will enter into it. So in this way, the random fusion of the gametes will take place. Number three, we can say that the random mating, or you can see the independent assortment. When the, as a result of, you can say, mating, what happens that the gene replication, during the gene replication, the genes are separated from each other. They independently sort from one another. So as a result of this, you can say the variations are originated, and then random mating, you can say x and xy, which x will come first and which x will come at second. So randomly it takes place. So random mating. So in this way, the variations are originated as a result of sexual reproduction. So first the crossing over, which takes place in the prophase one, and then the secondly the random fusion of the gametes when sperm and egg fuse together, and then independent assortment. You can say that the uh, gametes formation, and then random mating when the which X chromosome will fuse with the other X chromosome, or in this way the random mating will take place. So it was all about question number one and question number two. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.